Liam stepped out of his black car and walked toward the entrance of the International Grand Hotel. The evening sun touched the glass doors, and the place looked busy, loud, and full of life. People were moving everywhere, tourists checking in, businessmen rushing to meetings, staff greeting guests with polite smiles. Usually, Liam walked through places like this with confidence. He was young, successful, and known for staying calm in almost every situation. But today was different. Today, something felt wrong even before he entered. He checked his watch again. Only 30 minutes left before the biggest meeting of his life. $1 million deal. A deal he had planned for months. A deal that could push his company to the global stage. But the clients he was meeting did not speak English, and that was supposed to be fine. He had booked a translator 2 weeks earlier, a professional who understood every detail of the language. Everything was planned perfectly. But then Liam's phone buzzed. A message. "Sorry, I can't come. Family emergency." Liam froze for a moment. His heart sank slowly, like a heavy stone thrown into water. He read the message again, hoping he had misunderstood something. But no. The translator he depended on canceled. There was no time to hire another one. The meeting was too close, and the clients were already on their way. He pushed open the hotel doors, trying to stay composed, but his steps were faster than usual. Inside the lobby, he could hear the soft music, the light chatter of guests, and the clinking of dishes from the nearby restaurant. But all of it felt distant. His focus was only on the problem in front of him. He dialed the translator again. No response. He called another agency. They said they needed at least 2 hours to send someone. 2 hours he did not have. He tried 3 more offices, his voice becoming sharper each time, but all of them gave the same answer. No translator available right now. Liam ran a hand through his hair, trying to breathe. He rarely panicked, but this time, he could feel it. Panic rising slowly in his chest like smoke filling a room. Losing this deal would not just be a small loss. It would be a huge blow to his company. Investors were waiting. His team was depending on him. Everything was riding on this one meeting, and now it was falling apart. The clients arrived earlier than expected. Liam saw them walking through the lobby, looking around politely, expecting him to greet them and begin the meeting. They smiled at him, waiting for him to speak. But he couldn't. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Words failed him. He tried using a translation app on his phone, but the sentences made no sense. The clients looked confused, then whispered to each other. Their faces slowly began to shift from friendly to uncertain. Liam could tell they were losing confidence in him. Time was slipping through his fingers like dry sand. Not far from him, in the hotel restaurant, a young waitress named Olivia glanced at him while placing plates on a table. She had seen stressed guests before, but something about Liam caught her attention. He looked too calm on the outside to be this nervous, but she could see the tension in his hands, the worry in his eyes, the way he kept checking the door and his phone. Olivia watched quietly while continuing her work. She saw the clients speaking a language she recognized instantly. She had learned that language years ago from her grandmother, who used to tell her stories in it every night. Olivia never thought she would hear it here, in a hotel full of travelers. She wiped her hands on her apron and took a step toward them, then stopped. She reminded herself that she was just a waitress. This was a billionaire. This was a high-level business meeting. Stepping into it didn't make sense. What if he got angry? What if she embarrassed him? What if she misunderstood something? So she hesitated. But Liam's voice caught her attention again. He sounded helpless. She saw him dialing another number, his hand shaking slightly. She saw the clients checking their watches, whispering to each other with worried expressions. The tension grew in the air, slow but heavy, like a storm forming in the sky. Olivia felt something pull inside her chest. Sympathy, maybe. Or maybe the simple human feeling of wanting to help someone who was falling apart right in front of her. She couldn't walk away. Not this time. She stepped a little closer, pretending to clean a nearby table, listening carefully. She heard enough to understand the exchange between the clients. She heard their doubts, their confusion, their impatience. Liam tried speaking again, but his words failed, and a painful silence followed. Olivia's heart pounded. She could help. She knew she could. But should she? She took a deep breath. And just when Liam looked like he was seconds away from losing everything, Olivia gathered every bit of courage inside her and slowly walked toward him, hoping she was not making the biggest mistake of her life. Olivia stood only a few steps away from Liam, but her heart felt like it was running a marathon. She could hear her own breathing, soft and unsure, as she watched the scene unfold right in front of her. The foreign clients looked around with confused expressions, clearly disappointed. They spoke to each other in low voices, and although they tried to be polite, Olivia could hear the frustration in their tone. Liam tried to smile at them, but that smile looked heavy, like it was holding 1,000 fears behind it. He typed something on his translation app again, and the app answered with a robotic voice that completely twisted the meaning. The clients frowned. One of them raised an eyebrow. Another shook his head slowly. Liam's face changed. He looked like he was losing hope, piece by piece. For a moment, Olivia wondered why she cared so much. Liam was a billionaire. He had everything: money, power, respect. People like him rarely needed help. But right now, he looked alone. Truly alone. And something about that touched her deeply. She finally whispered to herself, "Just try. If he doesn't want help, you walk away." She took one slow step, then another, until she stood close enough for Liam to notice her. He turned his head slightly, his expression puzzled. Olivia swallowed hard. "Sir, excuse me," she said softly. Liam blinked, surprised. He hadn't expected anyone to approach him, especially not a waitress. He looked at her uniform, then back at her face, trying to understand why she was standing there in the middle of his crisis. Olivia felt her voice shake, but she pushed through. "I understand their language." Liam stared at her for a moment, as if he wasn't sure he heard correctly. "What?" "I can translate," she said, her voice still gentle but firm. "If you want." For a second, time froze. The hotel noise faded. Even the clients paused their conversation and looked at her with curiosity. Liam's expression changed from confusion to shock. He looked around as if trying to check if this was some kind of joke. "You know their language?" he asked again, needing confirmation. "Yes," Olivia nodded. "I grew up speaking it with my grandmother. I can help if you want me to." Liam felt something shift inside him, hope. A small spark of hope, after drowning in panic for so long. But he also felt unsure. Could he trust a stranger? A waitress he didn't know? What if she made a mistake? What if she misunderstood something important? He looked at the clients again. They were waiting. Impatient. Ready to leave. He didn't have more time to think. He took a breath. Please. Help." The relief on Olivia's face was small but real. She stepped forward and greeted the clients in their language. Their eyes widened instantly, surprised to hear their mother tongue spoken so smoothly in a place like this. Within seconds, their posture softened. They smiled politely at her, clearly grateful. Liam watched this with disbelief. The tension that filled the lobby moments ago started to melt away as Olivia explained, in simple words, who she was and why she approached them. The clients nodded, understanding everything clearly. Then Olivia turned to Liam and translated their first question. And at that moment, something inside him broke free. The panic that had been suffocating him slowly loosened. He could finally speak, finally communicate, finally breathe. He explained his business proposal, and Olivia translated effortlessly. Her voice was calm, confident, steady, nothing like the shy tone she had earlier. The clients listened closely, nodding along as she spoke. For the first time since Liam entered the hotel, the meeting felt possible again. People around them started to notice the strange but inspiring scene, a billionaire relying on a waitress to save $1 million deal. Some whispered quietly. Some watched from afar. But Olivia ignored all of it. She focused only on the conversation, wanting to do it right, not for money, not for attention, but because she knew what it felt like to need help and have no one to turn to. Liam kept glancing at her, shocked by her fluency, impressed by her confidence, and almost confused by her kindness. She didn't have to do this. She could have stayed in the restaurant, finishing her shift. But instead, she stepped into a moment where everything was falling apart for him. and she was fixing it. The clients began asking deeper questions. Liam answered, trusting Olivia completely. She translated every sentence with such clarity that even he felt more confident in his own ideas. Still, the fear wasn't completely gone. In the back of Liam's mind, a small voice whispered, what if something goes wrong? What if this meeting falls apart again? What if he loses everything even after trying so hard? But every time that fear tried to rise, Olivia's calm voice pushed it back down. The lobby felt different now. The earlier tension had changed into something else, something warmer, something hopeful. Liam wasn't out of danger yet, but he wasn't alone anymore. And he knew one thing for sure. The meeting wasn't being saved by luck. It was being saved by a girl who had nothing to gain but chose to help anyway. Olivia stood between Liam and the clients like a quiet bridge connecting two worlds. Her voice stayed steady as she translated their next question, and Liam felt his confidence slowly return. The panic on his face faded little by little, replaced by focus. He leaned slightly forward, speaking clearly while Olivia turned each sentence into perfect translation. The clients nodded, listening with interest. One of them even adjusted his glasses and smiled, showing signs of comfort. Liam noticed these small changes and felt hope for the first time since he entered the hotel. But even with things improving, Olivia's hands were shaking behind her back. She didn't want anyone to see it, especially not Liam. She wasn't a trained translator. She hadn't done anything like this before. She was just a waitress. A waitress who suddenly found herself handling business terms worth millions. Her heart beat so fast it almost hurt, but she kept breathing slowly, reminding herself that someone needed her right now. Liam's assistant arrived late, rushing into the lobby. She looked confused when she saw Olivia translating. She whispered to Liam, "Sir, who is she?" Liam didn't take his eyes off Olivia. "She's the reason this meeting is still alive." The assistant blinked, surprised. She wasn't used to seeing her boss depend on strangers. It felt strange, almost unbelievable. But she didn't interrupt. Even she could see that Olivia was doing a perfect job. As the conversation continued, one of the clients asked a difficult technical question, one that required precise wording. Olivia listened carefully, repeating the sentence in her head before speaking. For a moment, fear tried to take over. What if she got it wrong? What if one word changed the meaning and ruined everything? Her breath caught in her throat. But then she remembered her grandmother teaching her that language wasn't just about words. It was about feelings, tones, expressions. She closed her eyes for half a second and spoke with clarity. The clients understood immediately and responded with satisfaction. Liam watched her with a growing sense of admiration. He had met hundreds of professionals, people with degrees, high salaries, fancy skills. But none of them had ever helped him the way she was helping him now. She wasn't getting paid. She wasn't trying to impress him. She was simply doing what felt right. Still, the meeting wasn't safe yet. A sudden question from the lead client made Liam's stomach drop. They wanted to renegotiate a part of the deal. A big part. A risky part. Liam felt the pressure hit him again hard. He looked at Olivia, worried she might not be able to handle the difficult terms and business numbers. But she didn't step back. She stayed calm and started translating the client's concerns. Her voice didn't shake. Her eyes didn't drop. She spoke with respect and confidence, showing none of the fear she felt inside. Liam listened closely, grateful for every word she said. The clients then asked Liam to explain his reasoning behind the original terms. Liam took a deep breath and began speaking passionately. He talked about his vision, his plans, and why the structure he proposed made sense. Olivia translated every sentence beautifully, adding just the right tone of respect and professionalism. Guests in the lobby started slowing down to watch. It wasn't every day they saw a billionaire speaking nervously while a waitress controlled the entire communication. Some whispered, some smiled, some simply stared in curiosity. The hotel manager stood at a distance, confused about what was happening, but he didn't dare interrupt. As the discussion became intense, Olivia felt her energy dropping. Her shift had already been long, and this unexpected responsibility was draining her. But she didn't stop. Each time she felt tired, She reminded herself why she stepped in, to help someone who truly needed it. Liam noticed her exhaustion. For a moment, he paused, looking at her with concern. "Are you okay?" he whispered. Olivia gave a small nod. "I'm fine. Let's finish this." Her determination surprised him. Most people backed away from hard work. But Olivia stepped closer. She carried the weight of the conversation like she was made for it. The clients continued asking questions, each more detailed than the last. Olivia translated. Liam explained. The negotiation moved slowly but steadily. The clients began showing signs of trust. Their voices softened. Their expressions grew thoughtful. One of them finally spoke a long sentence, and Olivia listened carefully. She smiled slightly as she turned to Liam. They said, "They are impressed." They didn't expect such passion and clarity. Liam felt a wave of relief sweep through him. But the meeting wasn't officially saved yet. One final decision remained. The lead client asked for a private moment to discuss with his team. They stepped aside, leaving Liam and Olivia alone. Liam exhaled deeply and looked at Olivia. "You're incredible," he said quietly. "I don't even know how to thank you." Olivia felt her cheeks warm. "You don't have to. I just wanted to help." Liam shook his head. "You didn't just help. You walked into a disaster and saved me." Olivia smiled softly, embarrassed but happy. Then the clients returned. Their faces serious. Liam's heart pounded. Olivia's hands tightened. Everyone waited. What would they decide? Everything, the deal, Liam's future, and Olivia's unexpected courage, rested on the next few words. The clients stood in front of Liam and Olivia with unreadable expressions. The lobby suddenly felt colder, quieter, almost like everyone had stopped breathing. Liam tried to control his nerves, but his hands felt heavy at his sides. Olivia stood next to him, trying to look calm even though her heart was beating fast. The lead client spoke first, his tone serious. Olivia listened carefully, not blinking, afraid to miss even a single word. When he finished, she turned toward Liam. Her face softened slightly, and for a moment, Liam thought he saw a hint of hope in her eyes. "They want to continue the discussion," she said gently. "They're not rejecting the deal." Liam let out a breath he didn't even know he was holding. Relief washed over him, but only for a moment. There was still a lot to talk about, a lot to explain, and a lot that could go wrong. The group moved to a quieter corner of the lobby where a small round table sat near the large windows. The city lights outside glowed softly, making the moment feel even more intense. Olivia took the chair beside Liam, her hands resting carefully on her lap, ready to translate again. As they sat down, the clients asked for more details about the financial section of the agreement. It was complicated. Numbers, percentages, timelines, long-term expectations. Liam explained everything with precision, and Olivia translated every part with surprising confidence. She didn't rush. She didn't panic. She acted like she belonged in that conversation, even though she had never been part of anything like it before. But the pressure was still high. Every sentence felt like it carried weight. One wrong translation could change the meaning. One unclear explanation could create doubt. Liam glanced at Olivia often, not because he didn't trust her, but because he couldn't believe she was handling it so effortlessly. The clients whispered among themselves again. Their expressions were serious, their brows slightly furrowed. Olivia watched carefully, trying to read the mood. Liam's heart felt like it was stuck in his throat. He didn't want to show fear, but it was there, every second, every breath. Finally, one of the clients looked up and asked a question that made Liam freeze. They wanted a guarantee. A strong one. Something he couldn't promise easily. Olivia's eyes widened slightly as she listened. She knew how big the request was. Before translating it, she took a small breath and looked at Liam gently, giving him a signal that this part was delicate. She repeated the question carefully, word by word, making sure Liam understood everything clearly. When she finished, she waited silently, worried about how he would respond. Liam leaned back in his chair, thinking. The guarantee they asked for was risky. If he agreed too quickly, he might trap himself in a bad deal. But if he refused, they might walk away completely. He pressed his fingers together, trying to stay calm. The clients watched him closely. Olivia's eyes stayed on him too, silently encouraging him to trust himself. After a long pause, Liam finally spoke. Olivia translated gently, keeping his tone respectful but firm. He didn't reject the request. Instead, he proposed a balanced option, something that protected his company but also gave the clients the security they needed. The clients listened carefully. They whispered softly among themselves again. Their faces softened this time, not completely convinced but no longer doubtful. Liam felt a thin thread of hope return. But then something unexpected happened. One of the clients smiled, very slightly. Olivia noticed it first. Her heart lifted. The client asked a new question, not about problems, but about possibilities. It was a good sign. A very good sign. Liam answered with more confidence now. Olivia translated with ease. The conversation became smoother, lighter, almost natural. The clients nodded along. They even laughed at a small joke Liam made, after Olivia translated it, of course. The tension in the air began to fade, replaced by a sense of connection. But Olivia didn't relax. Not yet. She kept her focus sharp, her ears tuned to every word, her voice calm and steady. She didn't want to make even a small mistake. Liam noticed that too. He could see she was getting tired. Her shoulders were slightly tense, her breaths a little deeper than before. She had been standing and translating for a long time, far beyond what anyone expected from a waitress. He leaned closer and whispered, "If you need a break, just tell me." Olivia shook her head gently. "I'm okay. We're almost there." Something about the way she said it made Liam feel grateful in a way he couldn't explain. She wasn't helping him for money. She wasn't helping him for attention. She was doing it because she cared about the moment, about doing something good, about helping someone in trouble. That touched him more than he expected. Finally, after more discussion, the client stood up. They thanked Olivia politely and said they would step aside again to come to a final decision. As they walked away, Liam turned to Olivia with the most sincere look she had ever seen on his face. "You're doing more than saving a deal," he said softly. "You're saving me." Olivia felt her throat tighten. She lowered her eyes, slightly shy. "You would have done the same for someone else." Liam shook his head gently. "Not everyone would step in the way you did." Before Olivia could say anything, the clients returned. Their expressions were calm. Their footsteps steady. Their decision final. Liam and Olivia both stood up, hearts pounding, waiting for the words that could change everything. The clients walked back to the table with calm expressions, but calm could mean anything. Good news. Bad news. A change of conditions. A complete rejection. Liam stood straight, but inside he felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff. One wrong word and everything would fall apart. Olivia stood beside him, her hands folded gently in front of her apron. She didn't show fear, but she felt it deeply. The entire lobby seemed to hold its breath. Even the soft music in the background felt like it had quieted down. The lead client cleared his throat and spoke. His voice was low but steady. Olivia leaned forward, listening to every syllable. Liam watched her face, trying to read her reaction, but her expression stayed calm and respectful. When the client finished, Olivia turned to Liam. "They said," she paused, almost smiling, "they want to sign the deal." Liam blinked. He wasn't sure he heard that right. "Sign?" he asked softly. Olivia nodded, her smile growing. "Yes. They agree. They said your plan is strong. They trust you." Relief hit Liam like a warm wave crashing over his entire body. His shoulders dropped, his breath escaped in a shaky exhale, and for a moment he closed his eyes, letting the tension fall away. He had been standing under so much pressure that his chest actually hurt. Now the weight was gone. The clients extended their hands politely. Liam shook each one with gratitude, and Olivia translated the final details, final terms, signing steps, and next meeting dates. Her voice was calm, smooth, and full of dignity. The clients complimented her too. They said she was professional, respectful, and surprisingly skilled. Olivia bowed her head slightly, embarrassed, but she thanked them in their language. When the papers were finally signed, A soft applause broke out from a few people watching from the lobby. It wasn't loud, but it was warm. People could feel something special had happened in front of them. A story that didn't happen every day. Liam turned to Olivia with the most genuine smile he had shown all day. "You saved the deal," he said softly. "You saved everything." Olivia shook her head. "You did all the talking. I just translated." "Not true," Liam replied. "I couldn't have said a single word without you." His voice carried emotion, honest, real, deep gratitude that couldn't be faked. Olivia felt her eyes warm, but she blinked the feeling away quickly. She didn't want to cry in front of strangers, especially not in front of a billionaire. The clients left the lobby, giving their final polite nods. Liam and Olivia stood together in the center of the room as the buzz slowly faded back into normal hotel noise. Now that the pressure was gone, Liam finally noticed something he hadn't seen before. Olivia looked exhausted. Her shoulders were tense. Her breaths were long. Her hands were slightly stiff from holding her nerves in place for so long. She had done something extraordinary, but it had cost her a lot of energy. Liam stepped closer. "Are you okay?" Olivia smiled softly. "I'm fine. Just tired. I didn't expect this when I came to work today." He laughed quietly. "I didn't expect it either." The assistant walked over and handed Liam the final signed documents. He held them carefully, almost like they were delicate. This deal was worth millions, but in that moment it felt like something even bigger. Like survival, like victory, like fate had stepped in at the last second. And fate had given him a waitress named Olivia. He turned to her again. "I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to," she said gently. "Anyone would have done the same." But Liam shook his head. "No. Most people would have watched. You stepped in. You took a risk. You helped someone you didn't even know." Her eyes lowered slightly. "I just saw someone who really needed help." Liam felt something warm in his chest, something that wasn't relief anymore. Something softer. Something like admiration. "You deserve more than just a thank you," he said quietly. Before Olivia could respond, the hotel manager rushed over, smiling nervously. He had seen everything from a distance and didn't know whether to congratulate Olivia or apologize to Liam for the chaos. "Sir, I hope everything went well," he began. Liam turned to him confidently. "Everything went perfectly because of her." The manager looked at Olivia, surprised. Olivia smiled politely, though she seemed a little shy. Liam reached into his pocket and took out his business card. He held it out to Olivia. "I want you to call me tomorrow," he said. "I have an offer for you. Something better than serving tables." Olivia froze. "Wait, an offer? For me?" "Yes," Liam said. "You shouldn't be working here. You have talent. You have courage. People like you belong in places where your skills matter." For a moment, Olivia couldn't speak. The idea felt unreal, like a dream she didn't plan or ask for, but life was handing it to her anyway. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "Just say you'll call," Liam replied with a warm smile. Olivia nodded slowly. "I'll call." Liam gave her one last grateful look before turning to leave with his assistant. The weight of the day had lifted off him completely. He didn't just win a deal, he gained a new respect for someone unexpected. Olivia watched him go, still holding the card gently in her hand. A simple waitress. A random moment. An unexpected choice. And it changed everything. The next morning came quietly. The hotel lobby was calm again, just like every other day. But Olivia's heart didn't feel calm at all. She stood in the staff changing room holding Liam's business card. She had looked at it so many times that she memorized every line on it. A billionaire's number. A billionaire's name. A billionaire's invitation. But she was still just a waitress, wasn't she? She kept asking herself the same question over and over again. Should I call? What if he was just being polite? What if he was only grateful in the moment? What if he forgot about me already? Fear wasn't new to Olivia. She lived with fear quietly, the way some people lived with confidence. But yesterday had shown her something she didn't usually see, what she was capable of. Yet still, dialing that number felt like trying to open a door to another world. Her hands trembled a little as she stepped into the hallway. She looked at the card one more time, took a breath, and just pressed the call button before she could lose courage. It rang only once. Then Liam's voice answered, calm and warm. Olivia? Her heart almost stopped. He remembered. Yes, she said softly. It's me. I'm glad you called, Liam said. I was hoping you would. She felt her nerves ease just a little. You wanted to talk about an offer? Yes. Can you come to my office today? I'd like to show you something. Olivia agreed, still unsure if this was real. He sent her the address, an entire building owning his name, and she took a taxi there. The city passed by her window, but she barely saw it. She was too lost in thoughts, too full of worry and hope mixing together. When she reached the building, she looked up in awe. It was tall, shining, and powerful. A place where important people walked with confidence. She wasn't sure if she belonged there, but she stepped inside anyway. The receptionist greeted her kindly and directed her to the top floor. When the elevator doors opened, she saw Liam waiting for her. He wasn't in a suit this time. He wore something simpler, looking more human than Billionaire. He smiled. I'm glad you came. Olivia nodded nervously. I wasn't sure if I should. I was sure, Liam said. I want to show you something. He guided her into a large meeting room with glass walls. Inside, papers, documents, and folders were neatly arranged on the table. But what caught Olivia's attention was a separate folder with her name written on the cover. Her breath caught in her chest. This, Liam began softly, touching the folder, is a job offer. Olivia's eyes widened. A job? For me? Yes, he said. Not as a waitress. Not as a temporary helper. As part of my international communication team. Olivia's lips parted slightly. But I don't have degrees. I don't have experience. Liam shook his head gently. You have something more important. Real skill. Real instinct. Real courage. Yesterday you handled pressure most people can't handle. You spoke clearly. You respected everyone. You kept calm when the situation was falling apart. Olivia lowered her eyes. I was scared. Everyone gets scared, Liam replied. But not everyone acts despite fear. You did. His voice was sincere, and Olivia felt something warm spread in her chest, something like pride, something she didn't let herself feel very often. Liam opened the folder and handed her a contract. You'll get training. You'll learn the rest. I just need someone I can trust. Someone who doesn't run away when things get difficult. Olivia's fingers trembled as she touched the papers. She had never held a document like that before, something that could change her entire life. Why me? She whispered. Liam looked at her gently. Because you were there when I needed help the most. And because you didn't help me for money or reward. You helped because your heart told you to. Olivia swallowed hard. The memory of yesterday flashed in her mind, the panic in Liam's eyes, the tension in the room, the moment she stepped forward even though she wasn't sure of anything. She didn't realize that single moment could change everything. But here she was. A billionaire offering her a place in a world she never imagined she could enter. Tears formed quietly in her eyes, but she blinked them back. I don't know if I deserve this, she said softly. You do, Liam replied. Sometimes life puts the right people in front of us at the right time. Yesterday you were that person. Olivia looked at the contract again. Her chest tightened with emotion. This wasn't luck. It wasn't charity. It was her effort, her courage, her heart. Slowly, she picked up the pen placed beside the folder. I want to try, she whispered. Liam smiled, warm, proud, almost relieved. Then welcome to the team. As she signed her name, her tears finally escaped. Not of sadness, not of fear, but of joy. She wasn't just a waitress anymore. She wasn't invisible. She wasn't stuck in the life she thought she was trapped in. She was someone who made a brave decision at the right moment, and destiny rewarded her. When she looked up, Liam extended his hand. Olivia, he said softly, your life starts changing today. And for the first time in a long time, Olivia believed it. Weeks passed, and Olivia's life slowly began to change in ways she never expected. She now walked through the tall glass doors of Liam's company every morning, no longer as a waitress, but as someone who finally had a place where her abilities mattered. Every day felt like a new chapter, new things to learn, new people to meet, new confidence she didn't know she had. At first she struggled. She was nervous in meetings, unsure when to speak, scared of making mistakes. But Liam stood by her with patient support. He guided her through each task, encouraged her when she doubted herself, and never once made her feel small. Slowly, she grew into the role. Her voice grew steadier. Her steps grew firmer. Her heart grew braver. One afternoon, after a long week of work, Liam invited her to the rooftop lounge of the building. The sun was setting, painting the sky in soft orange and pink colors, and the city lights were starting to glow. Olivia stood there quietly, taking in the view. She still couldn't believe this was her life now. "You're doing well," Liam said, standing beside her. She smiled softly. "I'm trying." "You're doing more than trying," he said. "You're becoming someone stronger every day." Olivia looked at him with gratitude. "Thank you for believing in me. I never thought someone like me would get a chance like this." Liam shook his head gently. Opportunities don't always come to the most educated or the most powerful. Sometimes they come to the most genuine, the most kind, the ones who act with heart. Olivia lowered her gaze, a warm ache filling her chest. "I'm just glad I could help you that day." Liam looked at her with a thoughtful expression. "You didn't just help me. You changed me." She turned to him, surprised. "Changed you? How?" He smiled a little. "For a very long time, I didn't trust people easily. Everyone around me wanted something: money, status, favors. But you stepped in without expecting anything. You reminded me that kindness still exists, that good people still exist." A soft breeze passed between them, carrying the weight of his words. Olivia didn't speak for a moment. Her eyes softened, touched deeply. "Sometimes," she said slowly, "people just need someone to see their struggle. Someone to see their fear. I saw yours that day, and I couldn't walk away." Liam nodded. "And because you didn't walk away, both of our lives changed." They both looked out at the city in silence for a moment. The world below moved fast, bright and loud, but up on the rooftop, everything felt peaceful. Like two different lives had met at the perfect moment. Olivia breathed in the cool air and whispered, "It still scares me sometimes, thinking I might lose all this." "You won't," Liam said, "because you didn't get here by luck. You got here by courage, by heart, by being someone who helps without hesitation." Olivia's eyes filled with quiet tears, not of sadness, but of gratefulness. She had expected to live her whole life unnoticed, serving tables, waiting for tips, trying to survive one day at a time. She never expected her life to take such a turn, all because of one moment, one decision. Liam continued in a gentle voice, "Life changes in seconds, Olivia. Sometimes all it takes is one brave step." She nodded slowly, finally understanding something she had never realized before. It wasn't fate. It wasn't magic. It was her. Her choice. Her heart. Her courage. Olivia wiped her eyes and smiled softly. "I guess I just needed someone to tell me I was worth more." "You always were," Liam said. "You just needed a moment to see it." The sky darkened, and the first stars began to appear. Olivia looked up at them, feeling lighter than she had in years, as if the weight she carried all her life had finally lifted. She turned to Liam and whispered, "Thank you for this new beginning." Liam smiled warmly. "No, Olivia. Thank you for reminding me that the smallest act of kindness can change everything." As they stood under the quiet sky, a simple but powerful truth settled inside both of them. A single moment of courage can rewrite a destiny. And a single act of kindness can transform not just one life, but two. Sometimes the greatest changes in life begin with the smallest act of kindness. One brave moment can open doors you never knew existed, and one pure heart can change another forever.